Like Craig said, thanks very much for joining us this afternoon. My name's Susan Say. I'm a Digital Skills Development Officer with Education Scotland. So I've got you for 20 to 30 minutes. So hopefully you'll find this useful. I've only got a few slides, you'll be glad to know, because we will be going into a live environment. So this session, we're going to be looking at creating content in Microsoft Teams. But remember, if your learners are using Glow, then they can also create content in Microsoft OneDrive. So it's exactly the same process. We're also going to look at the dictate tool within Word and how learners can just use their voice to add text to documents. We're then going to look at how learners can proof their documents by using the Word editor, and then how to access and use Immersive Reader. We're going to look at apps that include Immersive Reader, and finally where to go for extra help and support. So if there is one thing I'd really like you to take away from this session this afternoon, it's to investigate Immersive Reader. Immersive Reader can be used to support learners who have literacy difficulties. Users can customise their user preferences, they can proofread their own work, they can read out class content from their teacher, they can translate the document, which then supports for parental engagement, especially if the parent has English as an additional language. It's accessible on any device, and it's also industry standard tools. So when we are using Glow at home or in school, I always share that it is an industry standard tool. So when our children or learners leave school to go into further education or the workplace, there's a high expectation that they'll be asked if they can use Microsoft Office 365. So without any further ado, I'm going to stop my presentation and I'm going to pop into the Teams environment. Now, I'm sure all learners across Scotland have been using Teams, especially since lockdown. So I'm just going to end this just now and pop into my Teams app. So this is my main home landing page for Microsoft Teams. The first thing I'm going to do is access my class Teams site. And this is the one I'm going to be using for this demonstration. So once I'm in my Teams site, I can see there's different channels down the left-hand side. This is a nice way for my teacher to organise the content so the general channel doesn't get too busy and overcrowded with information. I always look at it like it's your ring binder folder in school, so you can divide all your content so you can access it quickly and easily. Along the top, we also have our navigation, and you can see there's a files section along the top. So when I pop into my files, I can see this is where my class teacher can save content and share it with me. The class materials folder is a restricted folder, so pupils only have read-only access within that folder. However, I can create documents as a child outside the class materials folder, especially if I want to share it with my teacher. There's lots of different ways that children can share resources with their teacher, whether it's through the files section or whether it's through the assignments at the top. It's also the same process if your child is in OneDrive. And I always talk about OneDrive as being your digital filing cabinet that follows you anywhere you have an internet connection. And that can be found in Office 365 in Glow. If you're not sure about it, please save it to the end and I can quickly show you where to access OneDrive. But for this demonstration, I'm in my Files section and I'm going to click on Add New. From here, I can create new documents that will save automatically into my Teams site. You can also see that I can add folders so I can keep the content nicely organised. But for this demonstration, I'm going to create a simple Word document. I need to name my document and then simply click Create. Now this opens up a Word web app. The difference between using Word online and Word on your desktop is that there's no save button. There's no save button because everything I do in my document will be saved automatically as creating it. So again, that's really powerful when learners are creating resources at home. So I'm just going to put my cursor onto the page and I'd like to demonstrate the dictate tool, a way that I can use my voice to add text to the page. To access the dictate tool, you can see it appears at the top right-hand side. And I'm just going to do a very quick demo. I am using the dictate tool on Microsoft Word. full stop. There's also a settings cogwheel in the menu, full stop. The settings help me to use the dictate tool and provide hints and tips on using the tool, full stop. I'm just using a small speaker plugged into my laptop just now. Let me stop this. And you can see it's really accurate. I always advise that young people use a headset if they are going to use the dictate tool, because then the microphone is nice and close to their mouth. But you can see it is quite accurate. And again, that's a nice quick way of getting lots of information onto a document. There's also the editor tool at the top right-hand side. And this allows me to grammar check my document. So once it opens up, you can see that I can make corrections for spelling. And I can also sort some grammar options. So it's telling me that I haven't put a full stop in here. And that's a really useful way for learners to check their documents and resources that they're creating before they hand them in to their class teacher. I mentioned the settings and the menu at the bottom for the dictate tool. When you open up the settings, this is where you can change the different language. So again, this is really useful if you're doing modern languages, for example. And you can see how auto punctuation can be enabled. So that was a very quick overview of how you can create a Word document within the Files section in Microsoft Teams. How I can use the dictate tool to use my voice to add text to the document. How I can customize the dictate tool by clicking on the settings, and how I can use the editor to spell check and grammar check and many other features within the editor tool. You'll see towards the bottom. Remember I said there's no save button, so to save this document I just have to simply close it. And I should have the confidence that when I open it again, that it's saved everything that I just worked on. I'll just give it a second. And that's it, saved everything that I just created. I also have the option to open this in the desktop app. So if learners are using Microsoft Teams, but they also have Word open on their laptop, they can get the full functionality of Microsoft Word. Because when you're using Microsoft Word online, it only does about 90% of the full-blown client version that's installed on machines. But using it within Teams, you do have the option in the best of both worlds, to use it online and offline. If I click to open it in the desktop app, then any changes I make offline will simply sync back online quickly and easily. So I'm just going to close this demonstration area just now. So the next thing I'd like to look at is the Immersive Reader tool. Now, Immersive Reader allows the learner to have a document read back to them. So let's look at how we can do that. So what I'm going to do is open up my document again. So it's just a Word document. So this could be one that I've created, or it could be one that's been shared with me by my teacher. Immersive Reader can be found along the top navigation under the View tab. When you open up View, you will see Immersive Reader appears on the left-hand side. Immersive Reader strips back the document to prevent visual crowding. So you can see the menu along the top has disappeared. At the top right-hand side, I can customize my text preferences. When I select text preferences, you can see I can change the size of my text by simply sliding the handle along. I can also increase the line spacing, again to prevent any visual crowding. I can change from 3 fonts, and I can also change the background colour. Now there's 6 there visible just now, but when I click on the more colours, you can see there's lots to choose from. So again, it can be customised for individual learners' needs and requirements. I'm going to choose black for this demonstration. I can then go back up to the menu and select the reading options. Once I'm in the reading options, this is where I can break down words by syllable, and I can also highlight nouns, verbs, and adjectives. I can also show the labels. So if I get confused and I'm not sure which colour the adjectives are and which colour the nouns are, I can select to show the labels above the text. So now I can see there's an N above the red words, so they are my red nouns. If learners are in a classroom and the teacher actually uses different colours for nouns, verbs and adjectives, I can change that so it's the same. So it's totally flexible. So let's go for purple. So again, the learner will have some consistency when they're using Microsoft Teams and they're using any tools in the classroom, so they're using the same colours to distinguish between nouns, verbs, adjectives and adverbs. The next one I'm going to go into, I can enable a picture dictionary. So I'm just going to enable it just now. And I can also use line focus, again to prevent visual crowding. And you can see I can just then focus on one line at a time. I'm going to turn that off just now. So I've got my picture dictionary enabled. When I select a word, you can see now, I can see the word, I can hear the word.
Tool.
And I can see a visual representation of the word. This doesn't work for every single word.
Voice.
So for example, my, you just get the word and the sound.
My. See.
The next thing I can do is I can change the language. So in here I can translate. So let's go in and select French. I can choose to translate by word or by document. So if I leave it at just word, so now when I go into the word tool,
Tool. Outil. Voice. Voix.
that's individual words. So really useful, especially in a primary school, if you're looking at 1+2 and learners are just starting to learn a different language, then they can choose individual words and hear that words back in a different language. But I might want to translate the whole document, especially if my parent has English as additional language and they're trying to support me at home. So I'm going to translate that whole document into French. Now there is a wee proviso that this isn't 100% accurate, but it's always evolving and it is a fairly new tool. It will never replace language teachers, it's just a tool that can be used to support learning. So now I can see the French version of the document and the original English version of the document side by side, and I can jump between the two. And of course I've got the all-important play button at the bottom.
My voice to add text onto my document. You can see on the right-hand side that there is help and support.
So let's go back up to the top of the document and let's hear it in French.
Il s'agit d'un exemple de document. J'utilise l'outil de dictat pour utiliser ma voix pour ajouter du texte sur mon document. Vous pouvez voir sur le côté droit, mais il y a de l'aide et du soutien.
At the bottom right-hand side, this is where I can customize my settings. So I can choose a male or female voice, and I can also speed up the voice when it's played back. I could open it up in full screen at the top right-hand side, but there's one thing I will say is that you can't edit the document. So Immersive Reader is a hugely powerful tool. So if a learner gets a document from their teacher that they don't quite understand, they can have it read back to them. Alternatively, a learner might create a resource or create a document and want to proofread it before they hand it back into their teacher. If they do read it back in this screen here, and recognise there's a mistake, they do have to click the back arrow, sort the mistaken word, and then open it again in Immersive Reader to see that that change has happened and to listen to it back again. So that's Immersive Reader. Certainly worth exploring. So let me just close this document just now. And let's go back to the main general channel to see all the posts. Now, Immersive Reader is a huge tool that's used across lots of applications within Office 365. So when I just scroll down, I can see that my teacher has been putting some posts on my Teams site. And again, I'm struggling to understand everything that she's put on here. So when you hover over a post, you get this little menu that appears where you have some emojis. But we're interested in the 3 dots, ellipses on the right-hand side, where it says More Options. When I click in there, you'll notice I can access Immersive Reader just for the posts on my Teams site. So when I select Immersive Reader, I can have my teacher's post read back to me. And you can see it's remembered that I like a black background and I like my nouns, verbs and adjectives all highlighted and words broken down by syllable. So I can have this read back to me.
Susan say it Tuesday, the 16th of March 2021, 13:27. English report due on Friday 20th. Important. Persuasive essay.
And then using the back arrow will take me back to my post. The next post is asking me to complete a Microsoft quiz. So let's just open up the quiz. Just give it a wee second to load. And I'm going to select Enable Immersive Reader from the 3 dots at the top right-hand side. So now Immersive Reader has been enabled in my quiz that I've been issued by my teacher. So when I scroll down and hover over a question, again, this all-important symbol appears where I can click and have that information read back to me.
1. Name the 2 main families in Romeo and Juliet as select 2 answers. 2 points. Capulet, Montague, Caplet, Sapulet, Bontag. End of question.
And we know that not all
Close
of
the
our
reader to
answers
input your answer.
are correct words because I made up some of them, but it still managed to read them out. So again, to support me with answering my questions in my quiz. So let's go back into Teams. So we've looked at how we can access Immersive Reader through the Word documents from files. We know we can create a document, we can use the dictate tool, and we can use the editor to check the grammar and the spelling. We can then have that document read back to us, and we can use the full functionality of Immersive Reader. We then went back into posts, and we could see how we could have our teacher's post read back to us by simply hovering over, clicking on the 3 dots, and selecting Immersive Reader. We then went into a Microsoft form, and we saw how we could access Immersive Reader to have all the questions and the possible answers read back to us. So let's pop back into my presentation. So where can we go for extra help and support? Call Scotland have an array of information, courses, resources and webinars, and I've included the link and a QR code that will take you right there. We've also got at Education Scotland the DigiLearn Scot blog, and this again is where we can support parents and learners and teachers with using the tools within the GLOW environment. So whether that's Office 365 or G Suite for Education. Now this link here takes you directly to a page about Microsoft Immersive Reader. This graphic here was a screenshot from an Immersive Reader page, and you can see there's interactive hotspots with little bite-sized videos explaining how to use each one of the tools. Again, there's a link and the QR code that will take you directly there. This is a link to the Microsoft Immersive Reader website. So Immersive Reader is available on lots of applications. So if learners use OneNote or Word or Outlook Mail, you can see all the different versions that are available and which applications within Immersive Reader are available. There's also other tools. So for example, Microsoft Edge, which is a browser, you can use all the Microsoft tools, the Immersive Reader tools within there. So if learners are browsing a website, again, they can break down words by syllable, they can increase the spacing and the font size and have the websites read back to them as well. We saw how it's available in Microsoft Teams and Microsoft Forms, but it's even available in Minecraft. So when learners are using Minecraft and there's pop-up notifications with information, there's that all-important Immersive Reader symbol that they can click on and have the information read back to them. It's also embedded into ThingLink, and I'm not sure if anybody has used ThingLink before, but that's what I just demonstrated in this page here. So ThingLink is being used across Scotland by teachers to share information with learners. So you could click on interactive hotspots to access videos or text. If it's text, you will see that Immersive Reader icon to have that text read back. And again, that's another Microsoft website with lots of bite-sized videos if you want to learn more about the array of learning tools, not just Immersive Reader, but there's so much more that Microsoft offer. So I'm just going to pause for a second just now to see if there's any questions, because I'm conscious that there's a lot of information in a short space of time.
Yeah, that was excellent, Susan. Thank you. Really informative. Really well done. Thank you. There's a question from Trudy who says she loves the Glow Scotland link. Can she share this on her Send channel for Teams for pupils to access?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah, okay. And I also have one that I copied from Kathleen. I'll just pop it in just now. Is there a way to keep the English UK as an option in dictate settings, as at the moment it seems to default to English US?
You're absolutely correct. It does always default back, and the Glow team Education Scotland have raised this on numerous occasions with Microsoft, and they've promised they're working on it, but we're not there yet.
Okay, Kathy just asked, is Immersive Reader available on PowerPoint? It isn't, but I think it's due to be available. You might know, Susan.
Just the same as you, Craig. I think it's in the process, but we're not there yet, and I haven't seen a timeline for it yet.
Yeah. Is this stuff available in Microsoft Office Teams on the iPad? From Mix asking.
Let's have a wee look at my graphic. Oh. So here we go, Teams. So it just says Word iPad. It doesn't say Teams iPad. If you go on to the next question, I have an iPad sitting here.
Okay then. Claire's asking, is it available to read PDFs? Well, I could answer that. That it isn't, as far as I know. But you can use if you were to open up a PDF in Word, for example, you could use Immersive Reader to read it. Or if you open up the PDF in Microsoft Edge, you could use Immersive Reader to use it that way as well. So there's lots of ways in which you can use PDFs, but not as an original file. Why isn't it available across all web pages, Mary's asking? Will it become more widely available?
I think that Microsoft evolved at a tremendous rate, and it will become more and more available across all websites. But again, I don't have that information from Microsoft, I'm afraid.
Yeah, as far as I understand it, it works best when it's an article. So if you go to the BBC site, it might not appear automatically, but if you were to click into an article which has sort of text in a format, it will read that for you. So I think it's to do with the way that the text is formatted on a web page. Kathy's saying, I've changed PDFs to Word and use it for Immersive Reader. So yeah, there you go. Thanks, Kathy. That's,
Thank you. I've just had a look at a post on the Teams app on an iPad and it's not available there yet. I'm in the process of just opening a Word document within Teams app on an iPad, so give me 10 seconds or so. It's going to be a bit slow.
But I could say, while you're doing that, Susan, that if you were to use Word Online on an iPad, you would get access to all your Immersive Reader and dictate that through that way. So if you were to use a browser and open up Word Online, you would get access to it that way.
Agree.
Kathy's just saying, open a Word doc, drop the PDF in, and change it to Word. Yeah, and if it's an image PDF as well, it converts it or OCRs it into text as well, which is fantastic. Any more questions? Can Immersive Reader, Philip is asking, be used offline so we can use for exam access arrangements?
You can use it in Word offline. I'm not sure the whole suite of tools is available offline, but I'm pretty sure it's available offline on Word. Craig, you might be able to confirm that.
Yeah, I think it is, but the Word app, you don't get the full online experience as you do with the Word, but maybe in time it will come. And Alan's written a blog post. He's just put the login why some web pages won't work on his blog. And Paul's got some information on PDF to Word for assessments is there as well. So there's lots of resources there. And also, if you don't mind, Susan, there's also an extension for Microsoft, for Google Chrome. So there's an Immersive Reader extension, which if you don't have access to it, but you have Google Chrome, you can add it as an extension and it will read most sort of stuff you come across as well.
So that'd be really useful on Chromebooks then.
Yeah.
Yep.
Will these links be included in the email being sent to us? No, they won't actually. They don't come as part of the recording.
The links on my slides, Craig.
I think Pauline means the links in the chat.
Oh, right. Okay.
Certainly, the links in your slides will be active. Yeah, you can get them there. Alan, Ala's asking a good question. Is Immersive Reader approved by SQA?
Oh, I don't know, I'm afraid. I actually don't know. Great question. Do we have a copy of your email address that we could follow you up with that? I just don't have the answer.
Yeah, maybe Ala, if you could send your email address to Susan.
Yeah. So my email address is susan.say, S-E-Y, @gov.scot.
So that's, if I just type it in, is that okay? Susan.say @gov.scot. That's it, yeah?
Yep, that's it.
That's right. So, Paul's saying SQA don't approve any specific tools, but yes, there's no reason why not. So that's. But Paul's also said you need to ask whether the picture dictionary, for example, would give an advantage to a pupil.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, thank you. Those are great questions and great answers. And Susan, that was, as I say, that was an excellent session. Thank you very much.